Hey guys, welcome back. It's Melissa here, and today we are doing my 2019 Shop My Stash finale update on all the products that I picked. So this is the look that I've created with the products that I picked from the last Shop My Stash. So we are just going to hop right into this. All right, so to get started, I am going to start with primer. I had 3 primers in this Shop My Stash. One was the Cover FX Blurring Primer. I use this all the time, and if you watched the Shop My Stash before this where I picked out the items, I did keep a lot of items that were from my project pan in this Shop My Stash because this is the last month to try to wear them down to the end. But I did pull in the Tarte Shape Tape Pore and Prime Balm. This one, it's not my favorite, but it's not a bad product either. I will definitely use it up until it's gone, if I ever even get to that point with a primer. The only way I'm going to get to that point with a primer is if it's in my Shop My Stash. So this one I just use in my T-zone area to fill the pores. Then I also had in here the Too Faced Hangover Replenishing Face Primer. I've got to say, I actually really like this primer. I feel like it's a mix between a Smashbox primerizer and like a pore filling primer. So it's got some qualities of both of them to it. Just a little more tacky than the primerizer one, but it's also got the liquidiness to it that like these pore filling ones don't have. Kind of like if you've tried the Touch and Soul primer, it's kind of like that. So I just use one of these liquidy primers around my face, but that is one that I would repurchase in the future. I think that it does a really good job of making your face ready for your foundation and also helping it stick to your skin. Then I had in here the Collab Concealer, which I love. I have finally finished this. So I have actually been using one of my foundations that I picked out as a concealer. This is the Revolution Makeup Stick. I have an NF3 and I've been using this as a concealer for like spots on my face. And it works pretty well. You can see it's just like it's so far down that it's hard to use for a foundation. So I'm going to use that today for my concealer. Just had like some breakouts lately. I've just been concealing those using that because it is a pretty thick, full coverage foundation. And then for foundation, I had in here the L'Oreal Infallible Foundation Stick. This thing is this is one of the worst foundations I have ever used. I am not going to use the rest. It's almost, it still has a full stick in there. I don't even know what I could use this for. Maybe an eyeshadow primer. I could try it for that. But it's like maybe I get 30 minutes to an hour out of it before it just starts to separate and move around on my face. And the bottle ones of the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte and Pro Glow are some of my favorite foundations. But this stick, I just could not get behind. I did not like it. I am not putting it on today because I don't want to have it on. But I've also been using the Stay Naked foundation. This is the new Urban Decay one. This was not in my Shop My Stash, but I've just been using it a lot. I would not repurchase it. I don't think it's better than the original one. I don't think it's better than a lot of foundations that I have. I have used up so much. I think you guys can probably see like how low it is in like a month and a half. I've never gone through a foundation so fast because you just need a lot of it to build up. For this one also, I put it on my fingertips and then I bounce it into my skin because that's just the best way I have found that it looks. And I think probably part of that is because of how thin it is. This lets me get the best coverage. It is like definitely not better than most of the drugstore brand ones that I've used, so I will not be repurchasing this one. But I just find that this one, not only do I use it so quickly, but it kind of sets in the pores so you can see the pores. It doesn't really stay on the face that well. And especially for the price point, I feel like it needs to be a really good foundation if it's that expensive. For concealer, I have been trying to finish up my CoverGirl Clean Invisible Concealer, which is one that I would definitely not repurchase. And then I also pulled up this L'Oreal Infallible one. Just because I love that Infallible line, I wanted to pull those up to see how I like them. This one is definitely better than that stick foundation. It is really thick, so you don't need a lot of it. And I'm just going to put a little of this one on because it's a little thinner. I wouldn't say it's as thick as the Shape Tape or the ColourPop one, but it's got really good coverage. And I mean, you can see how far that little bit goes. With the CoverGirl one, I've got to blend it out right away and set it right away, or it will look awful the rest of the day. So for powder, I've still been using my Urban Decay Velvetizer. I also had in my Shop My Stash the Coty one. Cannot even open this. It is so messy. I cannot take it. I cannot stand smelling like how this smells. It has like that old lady perfume smell, and I smell it the whole day when I use it, and I cannot stand it. I am going to be pitching this one. Thankfully, it was like $3, so I really don't feel bad about throwing it away. I don't care if it's good or not, and honestly, I don't really know if it's that good because I just can't stand using it. But even if it is good for the price, I can't smell that all day long, and the mess is not worth it. So this is the powder I've been using, the Urban Decay Velvetizer. Really love this one. It is right up there in my top favorites. Definitely recommend this one. I would definitely repurchase this one. Really, really finely milled and just sits really nice on the skin and kind of evens everything out. I also had the Bare Minerals powder in my Shop My Stash. I have it in medium beige, and I like to use something like this when I'm just really quickly trying to even out my skin tone for the day, but I'm not really putting a full face of makeup on. And I would not repurchase this one. The more I've used it, it just looks a little too powdery for me when I wear it. I would go with something like Smashbox has like a pressed cream foundation. It Cosmetics has one that I really like. I want to say that I've tried one from Lorac or Laura Geller. There's lots of them out there. Actually, I've got one here that's in my project pan. So this is the Smashbox one, and it's just a pressed powder foundation as opposed to the loose powder foundations. I feel like those loose ones tend to look a little more powdery on your skin, and I don't really like that. So next we're going to go into highlighter. I had kept my Master Chrome highlighter in my Shop My Stash, and I will talk more about that in my project pan. Love that highlighter. And then I also had my Ambient Lighting Ghost palette, as well as the Natasha Denona Bloom palette that I got in my BoxyCharm. So I am going to mostly use this one today. And you guys, if you watch my BoxyCharm, where is my highlighting brush? If you watch my BoxyCharm, you know that I was like, what is this palette? Like, I was so excited to get it. I am just going to be using my regular highlighting brush that I use. This is a Wet n Wild P75. I think it might be an eyeshadow brush. I'm not really sure, but I like to use it for highlighter. And when I used it with the brushes that came with BoxyCharm because I was testing out the whole box. And none of these things looked very well. Well, I have been using this in my project pan because I wanted to see, oh my gosh, see, like that concealer goes all the way out here now. Ooh, that doesn't look very good on the skin either. So anyways, I've been using this now in my project pan. You guys, I have been loving this palette. And I have been using it. I mean, obviously it was the horrible brushes that I used with it. Yeah, I already hate the way my foundation looks, and it's been on for like 3 minutes. And I've been using it with my just regular Real Techniques blush brush. I dip a little into each pan here, just like the tiniest amount. And it is so pretty. It lasts for a long time throughout the day, but it doesn't, like, it's a cream blush, but it doesn't feel sticky or anything on the face or tacky. I don't set it or anything like that. I usually do bronzer before blush. Oh well, I mean, look how pretty that is. I just love it. I love it so much, and I'm so glad I tried it with this brush because I wasn't even, like, originally I would think a cream blush like with your finger or with your stippling brush, but something about this brush, I think probably the density of it and the way the bristles are, it just helps to really blend it out and not put so much blush on your face like that other one did. All right, so I'm just going to grab this Ulta powder brush and I'm going to use the Hourglass bronzer. Oh guys, I said it in my products I want to try in 2019 update video, and I'll say it again. This palette is not worth the money. I don't think the Hourglass powders are worth the money, in my opinion. I mean, if I were to compare these to like Physicians Formula, I feel like they perform pretty much the same. In terms of like the ambient lighting powders, I don't really see any kind of difference to my other powders that I really like. This has been an item I've wanted to try for probably 3 or 4 years, and this is probably like one of my biggest regrets of 2019. So I had in here the Sigma eyeshadow primer base. I do really like this. I think it is a good product for the price. It's not my favorite that I've ever used. The MAC one is still probably my favorite eyeshadow primer, but it does a good job of covering up any kind of coloration that you've got on your lids and holding your eyeshadow into place throughout the day. And I don't think it's a super expensive eyeshadow primer either, and it is conveniently packaged as well. For brows, I've got my Bravo Conditioning Primer. Talked about this product a lot on my channel. I don't know how much like conditioning it does for the brows, but I do think it helps just kind of get your brows prepped in terms of get those hairs in place and have something sticky for your brow to set to. I had a couple of brow products in my Shop My Stash. One was the Mellow Tinted Brow Gel. I'm not going to use this today. Only thing about this that I don't like is the size of the brush. It's just a little larger and it's hard for me to place it on my brows precisely because my brows are a little smaller. This one, the Brow Styler, which I've been using the past couple weeks, I am really enjoying. The only thing I don't enjoy about this is by the time I get to my brows, I'm just trying to like really quickly then get to my eyeshadow. So I do feel like just a quick pencil is a little faster than this. And a lot of times that's what I prefer. But this one, I have had a lot of compliments on my brows when I've used this. It's kind of like you can get in between that really done brow look and natural look with this one. I feel like because it has this waxy part to it, I also can get my brows to stay in place because I have some that kind of like fly away. So I've got this waxy side here, and then on the other end is the powder. I feel like this is kind of where that more natural look comes into place by putting some powder over it. You can kind of fill in those sparse areas as well. The only thing this is missing is a brush. Obviously there's no room for that on there, so I just go in with another brush. So I do think it gives a really nice looking brow. It's probably a product I would repurchase in the future because I do like the look that it gives. All right, so I don't ever have eyeshadow palettes in my Shop My Stashes just because I am constantly using so many. But I thought I have never used this one on camera that I know of. This is the Fantasy Palette by Yes Glitter. So I'm going to do a look with this one today and just a really quick and easy look. It's Saturday. We've got to do some last minute Christmas shopping. Just going to throw on something really quick. So I'm just taking this fluffy brush. I have no idea what kind of brush this is. And I'm going to start with Blue Mountain Flower, this shade right here in the crease area. I'm going to be continuing my Shop My Stashes into 2020. I think that they've really been good for me to see, first of all, what I own and what I like. Using products for a period of time instead of just switching from product to product, which I guess probably most people don't do, but I guess if you own a lot of makeup, maybe you do. It helps you to really see like what you like, what's the best way to use a product, and give a better review on it than just using it when you buy it and giving a first impression. You know what I mean? What a pretty like purpley gray shade. So that one was called Blue Mountain. So then next I'm going to go in with a pinched crease brush if I can find one. This is the Balm. No idea. Something about a crease, I think. It's just a smaller fluffy brush so I can get in there tighter. And I'm going to use BFF, which is this shade right here. I'm going to pull that into the crease. And then I'm going to take Iced Coffee, this shade right here, and I'm just going to use the other end of this brush actually, and just put a little bit on the outer V to deepen that up. I think I'm going to use Charmed on the lid today. So it's this like, it's almost like an ultra-violet-y shade. Ooh, this one is like really a crumbly shade. Be sure to spray that. think I just want this all over the lid today, but then I'm going to do one of these lighter shades in the inner corner. That is so pretty. You know what? This shade would have been really pretty too with that deeper shade BFF underneath it. And then this shade on top of it. So I'm just kind of doing like not all the way to the crease, not all the way to the outer. Then I'm going to take on a smaller brush here, Blades, which is this lighter shimmer shade. And I'm taking this on a inner corner Sigma brush, an E46. The other one I used was just a flat shader brush from Alamar Cosmetics. And just kind of bring this one in. I've got that done. So before I go into the lower lash line, I'm just going to bring a little bit more of brown in here. Iced coffee. And then I think I'm just going to take this brush. This is an e.l.f. eyeshadow brush, so it's one of their $1 brushes. And I'm first going to take Blue Mountain Flower. So that's the shade we used in the transition area. And I'm just going to get this all along the lower lash line. And then I'm going to stamp on with a smaller flat definer brush. I'm going to use this one right here, the BFF, which I am loving that shade. I think it's really pretty. And I'm just going to stamp that on the lower lash line. Okay, I'm going to start by putting this shade in the waterline. This is Piggy Bank from ColourPop. I'm not really... We'll see if it works or not. Oh, good. Okay. Yep, this is what I'm going to use for the waterline. So this palette, if you like a purpley look or a neutral look, I think that you would like this palette because it's got lots of browns in it as well. You could also do like a whole purpley look like I did, or you could add some pops to a neutral look. And then it's also got some of those glitters in it as well. I don't really think this is a too pricey palette though, if I remember. This one was actually sent to me by Yes Glitters, so I did not purchase this one. All right, now let's see. Ooh, you know what I was going to use for the wing liner is my calligraphy pen from Glamlight, because that is newer to me as well. So I thought we could give that another go. It doesn't look horrible. Still not my favorite in terms of ease of use at all. If you're a first-time liquid liner user, I would not recommend that one. For mascara, I have actually been using this Trace one that we got either in a BoxyCharm or a FabFitFun one, and I really like it. First of all, it's got this little eyelash curler on it, and I like that for curling my outer lashes, because if I'm just doing quick, my inner ones don't necessarily need it, but my outer ones tend to fall a little bit. So I can use this just to curl my outer lashes. But this mascara, I actually really like. I think it gives good length, and the lower lashes especially look really good with this mascara on. You could see my lower lashes. My upper ones only have one coat on so far, but I have like no lower lashes, and they're all really lightly colored. And you can actually see them. So I like this mascara. I know I watched some other BoxyCharm unboxings, and a lot of people were saying they thought it was kind of a gimmicky mascara and too big and bulky. But I am really enjoying it. And if I can find one that gives my lower lashes some length, it is one that I would repurchase. All right, let me find a lip color to wear. All right, so I went in with Golden Gate from Sephora Lip Stories on my lips today. I love this kind of a crushed berry look with a lighter purple eye. I think it looks really pretty, perfect for the holidays. So this is the final look with my final Shop My Stash from 2019. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.